As you guys know, I've been shooting a lot of electric longboarding videos. You must be wondering, why is he shooting all of this stuff? Why is he putting it on his Instagram and YouTube? What does this have to do with digital filmmaking? Well, let me explain. So the initial idea behind getting an electric longboard was to have sort of like a motorized dolly, right, with infinite tracks. An electric longboard allows you to get some really smooth shots, especially when you're holding a gimbal and doing some interesting tracking shots or following things that are moving at a higher speed. That was the initial idea of getting an electric longboard. As I got more into it and started doing research, I decided to make my own and do a DIY build, which is really helpful and fun. When you do a DIY, you can certainly get higher performance than some of the out-of-box solutions. As I got into that, I started to realize that the boards went a lot faster than I was used to. But I also wanted to capture the feeling of electric longboarding. What is that? And there's certainly a lot of guys in the DIY scene who have been making a lot of great strides in regards to the technology. But I think the visuals of electric longboarding, outside of the marketing stuff that you see on Boosted or maybe some other sort of name brand electric longboards, that really slick stuff, like how else can we kind of capture these boards, right? And how can we really convey that feeling that isn't just in Southern California or something? Like what does this look like where I live? So that was my initial, that was sort of my inspiration, right, to figure out how to shoot these things. What sort of rigs can I build to make these things look cool? So today I'm going to show you just one of my main rig, I guess, for shooting electric longboarding videos, but you can also use this for snowboarding or longboarding or skateboarding, anything that involves kind of high-speed action. But I found that this setup is really great. It's a compact setup. It's really easy to put together, to break down, and most of all, it's easy to hold when you're on an electric longboard, because there's a lot of things that you have to keep in mind when you're riding. Obviously, safety first. You're throttling, you're braking, you're carving, you're turning, you're leaning in. At the same time, you're trying to figure out the best composition of your shot. So hopefully this little rig can help you guys achieve that, to the point where you're just forgetting about filming. You're not remembering it. You're just kind of like directing the action, and you're getting the shots that you want. And I think hopefully what can come from this is that we can figure out what are the different ways or different techniques that we can use, not only to shoot electric longboarding, but what sort of cool things can we actually do? Because obviously, yes, I think we can kickflip an electric longboard, but I think there's other sort of like maneuvers that I think maybe it slides. I don't know. I'm not sure. That's why I'm sort of like, hopefully someone else can try these moves and I can capture it. But yeah, so hopefully this opens up some conversations on different ways to capture this really exciting activity. So let's get into it. So the first item we're going to look at is the camera, which is the Xiaomi Yi. I think that's how you pronounce it, Xiaomi. This has often been called the GoPro clone or the GoPro knockoff, but it's actually my main action camera, because for $80 you get such a great value, way cheaper than the GoPro Hero 3, which this is comparable to. You get Wi-Fi, it has a great app, so you could do live preview, you could change settings, natural colors, the definition is great, and it has surprisingly solid low light quality. I wouldn't necessarily bring this in complete darkness, but the way that the shutter speed works and how it sort of auto exposes is really actually quite nice. And I was really impressed by the image quality in low light. Another cool feature is this 1/4-20 thread over here. So this makes it compatible with a lot of sort of standard mounts and things like that. You don't have to deal with the proprietary mount that GoPro gives you and forces you to attach to everything. So this is a really cool feature. Yeah, it's an awesome camera, 80 bucks. You could get 3 of these for the same price of a brand new Hero 3. So next we're gonna look at the Came TV 3-axis action gimbal, which is actually a 32-bit gimbal. It features brushless motors as well as encoders. And what's encoders? Well, encoders is kind of a fancy, I guess, technology that helps the motors become more efficient. So it increases the battery life. It basically makes the precision of the stabilization better. And you can feel it. You can actually tell when you put this thing on how it really kind of stabilizes in a very quick way. Hard to explain, but it's if you ever see any gimbal that features encoders, it's really a good thing and added value, I suppose. So it's pretty lightweight. It weighs about 300 grams. What's also cool is it has a 1/4-20 thread here on the bottom as well. So this makes it really adaptable and compatible with all sorts of mounts, you name it. That is a very key feature. So we're just going to put the Xiaomi Yi, we're going to mount it on the thing. So essentially, this is compatible. If you have a GoPro, this is compatible with the GoPro. So, so you could actually use this with any version of GoPro, I think, except for maybe the original. It might not be compatible with, but so you just kind of slide this in like so, and you just screw these little sort of long screws in here. You just screw that in there. And then the other side, sorry. That's pretty much it. And then the way you turn this on is it's a little weird, but this is basically the on and off button. So it's a little kind of knob dial. So that's so when I turn it screwed up, it basically turns it on. So let's try it. There you go. There's this button over here you can click to get different modes. You can use the button here to move. Oops. Use that to turn. But as you can see, it's super stable. This is a really awesome handheld gimbal. Kind of one of my favorite, actually. Next up is the painter pole adapter. I found this thing on eBay. It doesn't look like much, but it's actually super useful. Everyone should have this in their kit. All it is a 1/4-20 male stud with a female painter pole thread. That's pretty much it. But a painter pole you can get at Home Depot or any hardware store for super cheap. So you could use it as for a variety of things. In our case, we're going to use it as a monopod. So this attaches to the painter pole, and then the thread over there will attach to the bottom of our gimbal. So just screw it in like so. And that's it. And finally, we have the painter's pole. Now you can find a painter's pole at any hardware store. You could get some for really cheap. You might have one already. I would suggest getting this one. This is called the SHUR-LINE Easy Reach 60-inch adjustable painter's pole. This thing is made out of, I believe, aluminum. And what it does is it kind of it's like telescoping abilities here. You can't really see it in this close-up, but it extends from 30 to 60 inches, which is really awesome. And there's these little notches in here, so you can kind of have a height and it'll just lock in. You don't have to like screw it in or anything like that. It just locks. And again, it's aluminum, so when you're putting, you know, all this delicate and expensive, you know, or not super expensive, but kind of pricey camera gear on it, you want to make sure that it's held with something that's rigid. Like this won't flex, you know, like it's really firm, and you have this really nice, what do you call this? Kind of like foam handle, so it makes it really comfortable to hold for long periods of time. And again, this push button is awesome. So let's see what all of this looks like when it's together. So this is what the rig looks like all together. The camera and the gimbal fit securely on the painter's pole. This, again, this SHUR-LINE painter's pole is the best thing ever. So you can do quick kind of shots like that, you know, in your face shots. You could get this thing really close to the action when you're riding the board. And one thing to keep in mind when you're riding is obviously, like, again, safety first. The way I like to do it, so this is the controller for the board. I ride goofy, so I like to use my right hand to control the board. And the technique that I like to use when I'm riding and shooting, it's a lot to think about. So you want to use every part of your body, right? You need to, in order to kind of capture the shots that you want. So I like to keep the pole kind of tucked in under my shoulder, and I just use my left hand to kind of balance. You know, I'm able to kind of use my whole body to get the shot, and I'm still able to use my other hand to kind of control. So this is a good technique. You can kind of get low. You could do booming shots. You can do all kinds of cool things like this. But you know, you'll just have to practice it and see what works for you. But yeah, this is a pretty cool rig, and I think I used to bring out like almost all of my gear on every shot. Every time we would have a meetup, I would bring like all of my gear. But oftentimes when it's just me and I don't have like other people helping me, and it's not like, you know, it's not like a real shoot or whatever, just this is all I need, you know, because you can do so much with it, and it's easy enough to travel with, and it's not like this big like unpacking and, you know, all this stuff. Like it's just a really simple way to get some cool action shots, and you know, sharing it with others, you know, well, take turns. So if you have two boards, you know, often what I do is, since I only have two boards, I'll ride one, and then my buddy will ride the other. I'll shoot him, he shoots me. We kind of teach each other like different techniques, and you know, you can really actually get better and think about the composition of your filming. You'd also mix this footage up with drone shots or regular kind of traditional handheld camera shots, and even like attaching this thing to the board itself to get some interesting POV shots from the board is cool too. But you know, play around with it. You can. I recommend it for electric longboarding because there's, you know, it's just an easy way to capture this stuff when you're going high speeds. Snowboarding, you could probably do it, but dropping this thing in the snow might not be cool, or any water sports, you know, it might be a little risky. But yeah, so if you have any questions or comments, just hit me on the blog, runplayback.com.